Welcome to the Empire Builders Podcast. Dave Young here alongside Stephen Semple. And Stephen just whispered into my ear the name of the empire that we're going to discuss today. And oh, thank heaven, I've been waiting for this one to come along. 7-Eleven. Um,
7-Eleven, yep.
7-Eleven.
You
Um,
know, it's the largest retail chain in the world.
is it really?
Yes,
Is
yes.
it franchises or is it
Um,
a combination of something?
no, it's franchises. Yes, it's
Okay,
franchises. But 85,000 stores in 20 countries.
that's amazing. Yeah, they're
Isn't it?
everywhere.
There's like 13,000 in Canada and the US alone.
You know what I love about their name? It's not it's spelled the same no matter what language you speak,
Oh, that's a good point. I never
right?
thought
You
about
can
that.
look at a 7-Eleven sign, and it doesn't matter what the native language is. It's 2 numerals, and
Yeah,
you recognize that brand by the color and the numerals, and you know exactly what to expect,
yeah.
right? It
They're the largest in the world. They're also now owned by a Japanese company. It was bought out after a disastrous leverage buyout, that was done by the Thompson family, but, you know, a story as old as life itself. But back to
Sure.
7-Eleven, and it's a story that starts back in 1927 in Dallas, Texas, as the Southland Ice Company. Now, I wasn't actually able to find the founding date for the Southland Ice Company. Everything I found said it was 1927, but I really believe it happened before that. But that said, that's when our story starts is in 1927 with the selling of blocks of ice. So we think
Sure.
about in those days, ice houses were really important. People would go and buy big blocks of ice and take them, and take them home. And that was
Yeah,
basically your
or
ice
there would be
box.
delivery trucks going around with big blocks of ice. Yeah, either way.
Yeah. But it was an important part of life. We forget that how you kept things cool was you basically had, like, let's face it, what you basically had was a cooler in your
Yeah.
house. You threw ice in the ice box, and that's what kept things cool.
Yeah.
So, and look, every town had one, or if it was a bigger town, more than one. So Joe Thompson's the owner of the Southland Ice Company, but he sees this new trend coming and he's a little bit worried. He's worried that refrigerators are gonna start to steal his business. Now, the
Ugh,
early refrigerators were actually quite dangerous. They would break down and they would release these dangerous fumes. But in 1927, GE releases a new refrigerator that runs on Freon, and it could also get below freezing.
okay.
And look, electricity was starting to be in most homes.
Mhm.
And shortly after GE's launch, 56 other companies started to also develop refrigerators.
So you could make your own ice, stick it to the man.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. So he's thinking about other opportunities. He's wondering what other
Yeah.
things can we do. And along comes Johnny Jefferson Green. Now, Johnny Jefferson Green is manager of one of the Southland Ice Company's locations. Now, one of the things he did while people waited, Johnny would give them a freebie. He'd give them a slice of watermelon, he'd give them a cold drink. When he was going down to grab the ice while they're waiting, he would
Gotcha.
give
Yeah.
them this, right? Little surprise and delight. Wonderful, right? Then one day a customer asks while he's waiting, saying, "Hey," because he gave him a bottle of Coke, went and grabbed his ice, and when he came and gave the customer the ice, customer said, "Well, while I'm here, could I buy a couple of bottles of Coke off of you?"
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he did, but then he started thinking, "Why don't I start selling some of these items at the ice house?" So he starts selling these items like watermelon and cold drinks and
Uh-huh.
all this other stuff, and it starts doing pretty well, and in fact, as it increases, he tells Joe Thompson what's going on because there's so much demand, he actually can't keep up, and this idea is kind of unheard of in the time because remember, in the 1920s, grocery stores are starting, but they're not really a big
It
thing.
was still your neighborhood store, right? Your
Yeah,
little general store.
you buy fish in one place, you buy meat somewhere else, and there's maybe a
Mhm.
general store. And the other thing that's really cool is this also gives an opportunity to sell people something in the wintertime when there's
Yeah.
less ice demand, right?
Mhm.
he tells Joe Thompson about this idea, and at the same time, so Thompson supports him, says, "Yeah, let's lean into this." But he also wants to run a little bit of an experiment because let's increase the price a little bit for the convenience. So he decides to
Mhm.
charge a little bit of a premium price. After 6 months, Thompson visits to see the success, and basically it's $1,000 in profit is his cut of it,
Okay.
which is a lot of money back in the 1920s.
Sure.
That'd be like 1/3 of an annual salary for most
I
people.
mean, I'd take $1,000 today.
Yeah,
Somebody
there you
offered it.
go. There you go. So he pours company funds into all 16 of the stores in Texas, and he stocks them with 12 food items.
Okay. Just
So
12.
with just 12, he starts off with 12 food
Yeah.
items. Now, there's a backlash because his big customers, he sells ice
To the stores. Yeah.
to people who sell food. And so some of his biggest customers, he faces backlash on. And
Sure.
here's the challenge. Do you protect your existing business or do you go after the new business? There's this idea that was put together, and I know he didn't use it, but this is one I'm going to share with listeners. There's this idea called the Boston Consulting Grid, and it goes something like this for helping make these decisions.
Okay.
If you drew a vertical line, it's about the opportunity. Is the
Okay.
opportunity growing or is the opportunity shrinking? So that's your vertical line.
Okay.
Boston Consulting Group would actually talk about market share, but I like to think about it as being big opportunity growing, opportunity shrinking. Horizontal line is, does it take investment? Does it take cash flow or does it create cash flow?
Okay.
Right. So now, top right hand quadrant are what you would call stars because they have growing opportunity and
And they
they're
create.
creating cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Your question marks are ones that have great opportunity, but require cash flow. So that's where you make investments.
Okay.
Then you've got ones that are create cash flow, but shrinking opportunity. Those are your cash cows. And then your dogs, of course, are the ones that take money and
Yeah. That
have
just
shrinking opportunity. Those are the ones you want to get rid of. But when you look at it, he had a cash cow in the ice business,
uh-huh.
shrinking opportunity, but creating money. But he had a question mark, which requires investment in this whole idea of selling food through the ice houses. So what does he do? Leans into the future,
Yeah.
says, I'm prepared to lose the customers.
The handwriting's on the wall for him too with the ice business, just in the fact that these grocers, these people that he's also selling a lot of ice to,
Mhm.
they're also looking at refrigeration, right?
Yes,
There's no way they're not, and on a
right.
massive scale.
So while it's obvious, how many times have we seen businesses that have been unable to make that pivot because they can't
Mhm.
give up?
That
They become committed to the cash cow, which is not gonna be a cash cow forever.
yeah, the cash cow isn't necessarily committed to you.
And the other is an investment, so it takes time.
Mhm.
So that grid helps people figure out the pivot,
Gotcha. That makes
right?
sense.
So anyway, so he loses a customer and they do represent more money than he's making selling food, but he sees food as the future, but he also
Mhm.
starts thinking about what more can he sell. And there's another business emerging, gas stations. Because before this, you would go to a hardware store and you would fill up a gas can, you take it home, and then because at this point, half of Americans own a car and it's being filled by an attendant. So he decides to put pumps in front of the store. So now he's got ice, gas, food.
I mean, these are things that you need all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And in 1929, he starts even buying competing ice houses because, of course, ice business is going down. They're
Yeah.
struggling. It's a great thing to buy. He buys them and converts them. They already have a
Mm,
customer base, and I can sell more to that
and
customer base because I'm going
multiple
to put food
locations.
and gas
Yeah.
stations in. Yeah. Over the next decade, he adds product, including cold beer. After 10 years, he's grown to 75 stores, and ice is just a product.
Yeah.
1940 hits $1 million in sales. Now,
Wow.
they hit another barrier though. After World War II, supermarkets really ramp up, and they're a competitor with more selection,
Sure.
better prices, and same convenience.
Mhm.
So what do you do? What a lot of competitors would do would be try to meet the grocery stores on price, but you can't because they're
Yeah.
buying in bigger bulk. You can't
Yeah.
beat them at that. But here's what he starts to notice. Shift working is start. People are
Okay.
working longer hours. Supermarkets are open from 9 until 5. Even restaurants are closing at like 7 and 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So what does he decide to do? Expand hours. Because remember, What was his core thing? Convenience.
Convenience. So be open before people head to work and be open on their way home.
So in 1946, he
I'm
decides
trying
to
to
be
think,
open from
from, like, 7 maybe? Did he start opening at
open at
7
7 and
and
open
stayed open till
until
till almost midnight? Like
there you
11?
go,
Let's just say
like
11?
11.
Yeah.
And this is completely revolutionary at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 1946, and that's when they decide to even lean into this so heavily, they change the name to 7-Eleven.
And I
So
think
now it's 7-Eleven.
and again, for reasons that they weren't even thinking of then, it became a great name. Now, I think most of them are open 24 hours,
Yeah, a lot of them are now.
but,
Yeah.
it became such an iconic thing, and again, it's just numbers.
Yes.
And so, he accidentally broke the language barrier by just using Arabic numerals as the name of the place.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever the intent,
No, but
but it
man,
was
it made it
great.
easy to grow into markets that
Sure.
just like that, that's just easily recognizable. Yeah, I love it.
Revolutionary idea at the time, started in the 1950s. They start to expand outside of Texas. They put them at highway exits. 1958, there's 300 stores across the Northwest. It now looks a little bit more like a mini mart.
Mhm.
Thompson starts mentoring his kid John, and in 1961, Thompson dies, and it's now up to his son John. Now, normally we would stop the story here because they're already kind of an empire at this point. There's 300
Right.
stores, but John John really deserves some recognition here because often the second generation is not as innovative as the first.
Mm.
And John, look, John was a chip off the block, and so I wanna talk about John because John did a bunch of amazing things for 7-Eleven. Because 7-Eleven's now being copied by lots of companies like Circle K, and no one's offering anything different. They're all the same. And John has made a promise to investors that he's gonna hit $1 billion in sales, which no retailer at this point has done. So he's looking for a game changer. And again, so many businesses, when they're facing this whole idea of everybody is the same, would drop into competing on price. So, enter Omar Knedlik.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Great.
Great.
Yeah, I just had an amazing 90 minutes
You did?
with the host of the Empire Builders podcast.
Really?
You've heard the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I finally took him up on the starter session.
So you drank the Kool-Aid.
Guzzled it.
How did it taste?
Well, he answered those questions that were keeping me up at night. Now I know what I need to do. So it tasted like strawberries.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, and you can book your free starter session on this podcast website.
Okay, Dave. Say, and they haven't missed a thing.
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
So, enter Omar Knedlik, who owns a
Knedlik.
D. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's
I believe you.
Knedlick, so I'm guessing here. And
Mhm.
he owns a Dairy Queen in Coffeyville, Kansas. And
Okay.
one day, Omar's fridge breaks down in the middle of the summer, and he has all these sodas that are warm. So he throws the sodas in the freezer to cool down as quickly as possible. And of course, when he goes to get them, they're partially frozen.
Yeah, sure.
He tries it and he loves it. He goes, "These are amazing." And he wants to figure out how he could do this consistently with the same texture because just putting it in the freezer isn't
I
going to
mean,
work.
it became kinda slushy.
You're right. It did become kind of slushy. So he wants to make a machine that can do this. So plays around with a DQ soft service machine to try to make it work. He plays around with refrigeration technology and he ends up getting it down. And he starts to sell this thing called ice, which is ICEE.
An icy? Yeah.
And icy. And he becomes the number one Dairy Queen in the state and he starts to sell the machines. This becomes his other business. And he approaches John. But John wants exclusive rights to this. But he can't give John exclusive rights because he's already sold this to others. But he points out to them he can name them whatever he wants. Now, these
Sure.
machines are pretty expensive. They're equivalent to like a 30K today. And John decides to call it
Slurpees.
Slurpees. And they do this crazy design, and it's a huge hit with
Mhm.
kids. In the first year, it helps push 7-Eleven to 500 million in sales.
Are they the ones that developed that spoon straw combo?
I don't know about that. That's a great question. I have no idea. It
Well,
wouldn't
these are
surprise me.
These are things, Stephen, that you really need to do
I do.
complete
I need to
research,
I
'cause
need I maybe need to talk to
you
you in future
I
about these
mean,
things.
you knew I was gonna ask about the straw.
So John creates the innovation of the Slurpee in terms of naming it, and it's a great name. It's an amazing name, and doing some fantastic packaging and things along that line, so he understands this, but this is not his last innovation. He's not done with his innovation yet. Let's go forward to 1964. John has a franchisee that notices people are coming in early, right? Because
Mm,
remember, they open at 7, right? And he offers coffee to go, which is unheard of. Puts it in a cardboard cup. No one has invented the lid for the cardboard cup yet.
okay.
So
That's
it's like literally pour it, put like
yeah,
tinfoil on the top. But John sees an opportunity. People are spending more time in cars. They're open early. How do we get coffee in the hands of people in the car? So in 1964, they launched the first ever branded cup of coffee on the go. 7-Eleven invented coffee on the go, not Dunkin' Donuts, not any of these other places, 7-Eleven.
okay.
This drives them to $1 billion in sales. 1968, they got 3,000 stores. 1974, 5,000 stores. Now, the new stores are kind of quite modern, and the older stores are starting to fall behind. And John's not done yet in terms of his innovation. This is the reason why I thought we got to talk about John. Think about it. John's done Slurpee, John's done coffee on the go. Like, this dude is freaking amazing,
Yeah.
right? So there's a manager in Southern California, Dennis Potts, who's looking for an answer because sales are down. He's in one of the older stores, and he's talking to the Coke rep. And the Coke rep has got this idea. No one likes the idea, but what the heck? Coke has gone and created these 32-ounce cups.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Well, what the
That's
heck?
that's big.
That's big." Well, especially when in 1970, the average size that was sold, the average was 6 ounces. So when the average
Like
is 6 ounces and you're now offering 32 ounces, like, holy crap, this is 5 times the size.
we have a big coffee pot at the tower at Wizard Academy that we bring out for a bigger event than a normal size class, and I always have to do a little research to figure out how much coffee grounds to put in. I call it the funeral coffee pot, right? So it's one of
Yeah.
these 100 cups, but a cup of coffee is 6 ounces,
Mhm.
right? Nobody buys
Yeah.
6 ounces of anything anymore.
No, no, they sure don't.
By the way I did a quick little search, and the Slurpee spoon straw was invented by Arthur Acanian in 1968, and, he was an industrial designer that they hired, and, that's in the Museum of Modern Art, the Slurpee spoon. So, it came out in '68 just as they were, going to great lengths with the Slurpee technology.
That's amazing. So Dennis decides, "What the heck, let's give it a try." Now, a few weeks later, John notices a spike in sales out
Mm,
of this location in Southern California and goes out and visits and looks at this thing and says, "This is great. We should do this." But John's a smart guy. He named the Slurpee, right?
right, right.
So if you're gonna do a 32-ounce thing, you should name it, right?
Yeah, you should.
So what's he name it? Big Gulp.
Big gulp. Yep.
Big Gulp. And over the next 5 years, soda sales go up 400%.
Mhm. Mhm.
400% increase. So, when I was looking at the 7-Eleven story, I was amazed by the founder. He did an amazing, amazing job, Joe Thomas, from the standpoint or
Mhm.
Thompson, sorry, from the standpoint of looking out there and saying, "Okay, I've got this ice house. There's this challenge coming. Let's sell." Now, he didn't come up with the idea. Somebody came up with it, but ran with the "let's
Yeah.
sell," but was committed to it. So even when it cannibalizes existing business, look, Kodak couldn't make that pivot
Sure. Sure.
when it
Yeah.
cannibalized their
Yeah.
existing business, but then also recognized, to make it work, I gotta sell more. What's the other thing going on? Gas stations.
Mhm.
Right? Really leaned into that, but then his son comes along and does Slurpee and does coffee on the go and does Big Gulp. Like, oh my god, that was like his son brought as much to the table as the dad did.
Yeah, and it's great, like, that's a brand that actually grew by being known for something, right?
Yes.
They're known for like, "That's a place I can go get some gas. That's a
Yep.
place I can pick up a few things. It's a place I can go get," and then they become known for something that nobody else was really doing, the Slurpee and the Big Gulp, right? You wanna just buy 1 soda for the day? Go to 7-Eleven.
Well, and what I loved was, that they decided to name these things because it could have been
Mhm,
easy that they could have just and they gave it an interesting first of all, an interesting brandable, trademarkable name because names that are kind of a verb,
mhm,
right? Like, as you said, you
yeah.
slurp it. Well, make it a
It's a
Slurpee.
big gulp.
It's a big gulp.
It's a little stickier than small, medium, large, and extra large,
Yes.
or even tall, venti. Like who else has done this successfully? I think Starbucks did that, right?
Yeah, 'ca instead of
Right?
making
Like,
small, medium, large, it was
yeah,
tall, venti, grande,
yeah,
right? You also the customer creates their own language. A big
mhm,
gulp, as soon as you go in, a big gulp is different than she said, a supersized drink. It's just in your mind, it occupies a
yeah,
different space.
it does, and 7-Eleven owns it.
Yeah.
So they it's a remarkable story, and still a very successful one.
Still, very successful, and I just love the fact that, the son carried on the innovation because so many times we don't see that. We don't see the innovation being carried by the next generation. They become very defensive and really protecting of things rather than this whole idea of let's continue to innovate.
Sure,
So that's the reason why I thought the story needed to include some of the more modern things, and also, I was really surprised when To Go Coffee was
was
created by
that's where it
Seven
that
Eleven.
yeah. That is interesting, and they not only created their empire, they created an empire in a category, right? A
Yes,
convenience store. They created
yes,
that. So I assume at some point, we'll probably talk about things like Buc-ee's, that
yes,
that have taken it to, a different
a whole other
level.
level. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but yes,
So,
but they created that category, and then they created, these other things, and
yeah.
so, you don't think about something like 7-Eleven as being innovative, but yet, when you look at these companies, when they've gotten to this size, typically it's because they did do something innovative, and
Mhm.
and they have been innovative, which is really
Yeah.
quite incredible.
Well, my alarm just went you might have heard that went off. I need to go get more coffee. So, we'll we'll have to end it here.
Well, at least you can get a lid these days.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the 7-Eleven story, Steven.
Alright, thanks, David.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.